Now, we've got our puppets this morning. We're really thankful that they've come down from the church loft. And Alex has been growing something up there. Don't tell Eric. We're about to find out what that is. But there's some sad news, actually. Some sad news in that we have mislaid the puppet stage curtains. So I need you to all look around church to see if you can find them. Because at the minute we're on the second-hand ones, and you can see they're fraying at the edges. So have a good look round to see if you can find them for us. But you know the drill, you know the way it works. You close your eyes, you count to 10 slowly, and hopefully they will pop up. Okay, thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's make it 15, yeah? We're getting older. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Right, that's ready, thank you. We plough the fields and scatter the good seed.
Alex, you sound very cheerful this morning, and that bit about being watered by God's almighty hand is true enough given all the rain we've had recently. But what is that you're holding, and where did it come from?
Well, Sal, unless you've been living on Mars for your entire life, you would probably recognise that this is a banana. And I've just grown it in the church loft these past few months.
Oh, Alex, I do know what a banana looks like, but you are talking utter rubbish. You didn't grow that banana in the loft. Firstly, because it's physically impossible, there's no daylight there, and the loft's not big enough. And secondly, because that's a soft toy banana, or an inflatable banana, and Naomi and Samuel won that at the 2Ps in Southend last weekend.
Not that we condone gambling in any way, shape or form, of course. You've caught me out! But I wish I could eat it. There's no food up there in the loft, and Eric always flatly refuses to provide us with a fridge or larder. I have to sneak down and borrow bits from the church kitchen when no one's looking. Just don't tell Sheila.
But your banana does remind us that we are celebrating harvest this morning and giving thanks for all the good things that we can grow and that are yummy to eat.
Apart from spinach and broccoli, what was God thinking of when he created those?
Even spinach and broccoli, Alex. And if you actually tried them, you'd realise they're actually delicious and good for you. But as well as reminding us of all the lovely food that God has given us, the intelligence to grow and rear, harvest also reminds us that God calls us to share what we have with others. And that is why everyone is being so generous this morning, bringing all these lovely things. And they're going to be shared out with others who don't have so much at both the New Addington Food Bank, run by our friends at the Salvation Army, and the West Croydon Refugee Day Centre.
Oh, good job you told me, Sal. I thought they were for us. I was going to scribble them away upstairs.
Oh, and do you know what? That's just like in the Bible. In the Old Testament, not only did God command the people to give back to him to sacrifice some of their crops and animals at harvest time, to remember that everything they had came from him, but he also commanded them, when they harvested all their crops, to leave some for the poor, so that they could share in the harvest. What a great concept that was. And God wants us...
Together, the words, I hope, are on the screen. Hey, 1, 2, 3.
Now harvest time is here. It's a very special time of year. We thank our God for all that he gives to us, and we share with those who do not have so much. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. 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 It's better when we share it together.
actually I've previously chosen, as I saw at the beginning of the service, 4 right at the front who were willing volunteers. So guys, do you want to come up? Come up and join me at the front. Now we haven't done this before, so we're going to have to think about how we're going to play this. Now, listen carefully. At great expense, guys, we have first of all, you're going to have to try and identify various items of fruit, vegetables, or other edible items. Okay? And you're not going to be able to see those items. Instead of the traditional blindfold, we have concocted, at great expense, this blankety-blank, or whatever you'd call it, contraption. Okay? So what you will be doing, as Joe has been showing us how that will work, you will be standing behind here. Adults will be on the left, children on the right. And you'll be putting your hands through to try and find, or try and feel the food item, and then try and identify it. Okay, without looking. So how are we going to do this? Hang on. We didn't practice this. How can we do this? Okay, right. So we're going to have who is going to go first, okay? And the winner is going to be one who identifies the most amount of the food items, okay? Who is come up, young man? What is your name? Henry. Who are you going to go with, Henry? Are you going to go with Grandma or Grandpa? Excellent. Henry, the boys together. The boys versus girls thing. Okay, if you'd like to go to the side over there, and we're going to have, your name is? Emily and? Nanny. Emily and Nanny are going to come on the other side. Okay, so.
Come with Henry this side.
Yeah. So you two are going to feel through there. Given I didn't think this through, you might be able to see. Oh, hang on, they're not going to be able to reach. Yeah, hang on, she can reach. Okay, right. Given I hadn't thought this through, you're not allowed to look over the edge. You have to close your eyes. I'm going to trust you on that. You close your eyes when the food item arrives. Okay. And my glamorous assistant is going to bring out our first food item. Okay, do you know what you're doing? So what you're going to do, you're going to feel the food item through there, you're not going to look, and then you're going to confer, don't shout that, confer together, whisper together what you think that is, and then you're going to tell us. If you get it right, you get a point. Hang on. If you don't get it, hang on. If you don't...
Scream.
Can we turn off that screen? We go. Right, you're not allowed. Okay, I'm going to trust you on this. We're in church. God is watching, and so is Trevor. So don't look at the screen. Okay. Right, our first food item. What should we do? Okay, show everyone. Okay, we're starting off with a simple one. Okay. Can you put your hands through, please?
You're going to hold one.
Oh, sorry. Hold one. Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. There you go, there it is. Have a feel. You have 5 seconds. Oh,
Don't shut up.
Don't shut up. You've got to confer with Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa, put your hand through. See if you can find it. There you go. Have a think. Yeah. Okay, we're ready. The service finishes at 12. So,
Confer with Nanny. What do you think it is?
Oh, next one. What should we do then? Oh, let's have the. Don't look.
Close your eyes, I think.
We didn't grow this, not gone. Okay. Hand through. Thank you. Hand through. Okay. Have a good feel. Up and down. Oh, I'm holding this. I don't need it. Up and down. Okay. Grandpa. Or... Okay. Have a feel. Okay, and now what you do is you whisper to each other what you think it is. Okay, off now, off. Okay, have a whisper. Give a bit of conferring time. Ready? Right. You think it is a...
Link.
And you girls think it is a... And they're right. Well done. This is getting too easy. Round of applause. Let's do something a bit more challenging. Okay, hands through. Okay, have a feel. We won't give them long now. Okay. Oh, shh. And where's Grandpa? You can have a go to see if you think, let's have a good feel. Okay, this is more challenging, alright? Okay? Right, let's... Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We think it is a...
Watermelon.
Do we definitely think it's a what? Do we definitely think it's a watermelon?
We've got 2 answers here.
Okay, what do we think it might be? What?
A mango.
Okay, we think it could be a watermelon or a mango. And we think it could be a...
Mango.
Or a...
Aubergine.
Aubergine, that could be an aubergine, good point. But it is in fact a mango. So actually you both kind of got it right. We'll give you half a point each. But you're still drawing. We need to make it more challenging. Yeah. Right. You get this, you're really impressive. Okay, hand through. Okay, have a feel.
No looking, no.
Okay, and now a Grandpa through.
No.
Okay. Right, well done. What do we think? Are you having 5 seconds to confirm? 3, 2, 1. You think it is a
Tomato.
tomato? Do you think it's a tomato? do you think it's a tomato? Fair enough. Do you think it's a tomato too?
I think it's a can of soup.
Okay, can of soup. What kind of soup?
I think
Tomato soup. Okay, and you think it's a...
I think it's a can of baked beans.
Oh, what's the answer? It is a tin of beans. The girls are ahead. Oh no, why? It could have been tomato soup. Right, we're going to have a couple more. Okay. Let's have the. Okay. Oh no, we're not going to do it. Okay. Oh, hang on.
Don't look.
Hold on.
So I remember the wipes, so...
Okay. Okay. Are we ready? Can the younger ones put their hands through, please? Okay. Keep going. Keep going, don't look, keep going. Give it a good grip. Mix it around a bit. Okay. Right, exactly. Hang on, I'm going to wipe
Keep
it
your hand
before.
there. Keep your hand there.
I'm going to wipe it before so they can't
Yeah.
tell before that. Okay. Well done, you may release your hands.
Not here yet.
The older one, thank you. If you could have a good feel in. Okay. Hang on, we'll need more than one wipe there. Okay. And we think that is, hang on, time to confirm, 5 seconds. What do we think it is? Have a think together, confer together. What might it be? It's not a tomato, I think. Have a think. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Salty semolina.
Okay, last one of class. I don't know what semolina is.
Different age.
Okay. And girls, we think it is
Glue or custard.
glue or custard. Now, I think that we need to specify. I need which one.
What do you think?
Okay, we need a decision though, because I can't have these.
So I think it's custard.
Custard! Oh, the girls have won again! Oh my goodness! You're so for semolina. I guess it could have been semolina, except that it wasn't. Right, our last go then. Our last go. Close your eyes. Oh! Sorry. Okay. Okay, our last one, hand through. It's a big one, so okay, good feel. Have a good feel, don't. Okay, we'll see. Are you sure? Are you sure we don't shout it out? Okay, let's have the older member hand through. Okay, are you sure? Let's have a think. Have some conferring time. Okay, hang on. Let's see if the girls. Let's let the girls go first. Girls, what do you think it is?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. And
Pumpkin.
let's show them. It is indeed a small but perfectly formed pumpkin. So, do we work out what? Well done. What? Let's have you may come to the front. Who is the? Who are the winners? Is it the boys or the girls? It is the girls. Oh, very good. Give them a round of applause. Well done. You may sit down. Well, we are very lucky, aren't we, in our country, that we can just walk into Sainsbury's or Aldi, and we can pick up any of those items just off the shelf. There are others within our world, just a few hours' flight away, and actually within our community as well, who don't have that luxury. And alongside our normal offering this morning, we are going to be giving to the work of Tear Fund this morning. And we're going to watch a quick video about their appeal this year, and then Alan, who works for Tear Fund, is going to have a chat with us about that. So let's watch just a 3-minute video.
Poor and the foreigners. I am God, your God.
Thanks, Jane. Okay. So, as we celebrate harvest this morning, we have been looking at God's provision for us, and how also He's given us the creativity to use our natural resources wisely. How could we survive, for example, as we said earlier, without chocolate cake? What a great idea it was to combine the cocoa bean, sugar, flour and butter. Who thought of that? That's amazing. Although, of course, I would never condone eating too much sugar, children, right? But often, especially in my household, we're not very good at giving thanks for the food that God provides. And in the Bible, God actually commanded the people to give back to Him as a sacrifice, as a thanks, a proportion of their harvest and their livestock as part of the various harvest festivals that they had throughout the year. They just didn't have one, they had more than one. Because this was a recognition that everything they had came from God. Now, I'm not suggesting this morning that you offer some burnt offerings to God, although if you'd seen my cooking, you might think otherwise. But my first challenge is to you this morning, when you have your lunch today, wherever you have it, maybe with your friends or family, can you just thank God for it? Maybe say a prayer together to remind yourself that everything you have comes from God. And maybe just don't do it on a Sunday lunchtime. Maybe think about doing that Sunday evening, Monday morning, when you have breakfast even. Even if you feel a bit grumpy, it's just great because it gives you a heart of thanks that everything you have actually comes from God. But don't forget as well to thank whoever prepared it for you, so you'll remember. Okay? Secondly, it's good to remember that God calls us to share what we have with those less fortunate, as we have done this morning. Isn't that amazing? With Tear Fund, with that food there, and thank you very much for everyone who has given. And the Bible verse that Joe read from Leviticus talks about that. God told the people when they were harvesting the land to leave some of it, for the poor and for the foreigners, the most deprived people in the land, so that they could have enough to eat too. So my second challenge for you is to think about how you can share with those who are less fortunate than you. And I know that lots of us do that already in church all throughout the year, and bless you for that. But it's always good to challenge ourselves about how we can give and share. And maybe some of you children can maybe think about bringing along next week, or maybe every week, maybe a tin of baked beans, maybe some shredders to give to the Lord's larder, and we normally have a box down there, a basket that we can give, not just at harvest, so we can share with other people. And what we give throughout the year goes, I believe, to the food bank, as I said, that is run by our friends at the Salvation Army in New Edmonton. So God calls us, He commands us to share with those who are less fortunate than ourselves. Now, who is this? No, the girl in the middle, but we know the guy on the right is, sadly. But the girl in the middle, who is it? Gretna Thunberg. She's this a 16-year-old environmental activist. I love this picture. Look at her face. She really hates Donald Trump, doesn't she? You can tell that there. Now, whatever you think of Greta Thunberg or her methods, you have to agree with what she's pushing for, the care for our environment. Obviously it's important, and we all have a responsibility to care for God's creation, as Joe read for us from Genesis. And we've seen the results, what happens when we don't care for our environment, climate change, famine, etc. And harvest is a really good time, isn't it, to challenge us about our care, to think of the consequences of our actions. So my third challenge to you is to think about how you can care for God's creation. I know we hear this all the time, but it's good to be reminded again. Simple things, switching off the lights when you go out of the room. Not using too much water. Maybe sharing your bath. That's what we do in our family, isn't it? We actually share the bath water. Recycling your paper and plastics. Getting your mum and dad to buy fair trade or ethically sourced products. Maybe, and I know this will come as a shock and a challenge to you, maybe even walking to church in the morning or the afternoon. Because small things absolutely add up to big things. And the latest challenge for us, isn't it, nowadays, it's about the plastic we use and single-use plastic bottles. Maybe see how many times you can reuse one of these. Or maybe not even using this, but buying a reusable one that you can, a really trendy one of these flasks that you can use all the time. It's always good to be reminded that we have a responsibility to care for God's creation. Now, I know a lot of this has to do with change, doesn't it? Harvest is a good time to think about change as summer turns into autumn. We go back to different classes at school, and it's getting colder and darker and wetter very quickly. And it fits in so well with what we are looking at in church at the minute, our series on the book of Revelation, where God challenges the churches to change where the people had lost their way, lost their first love of God, had become set in their ways, taken their eyes off Jesus, needed to stay faithful, needed to persevere, not just be lukewarm. Are we willing to change as individuals and as God's church here in Selsdon, even when it's difficult, even when it's unknown, even when it's strange to us, because that is what God calls us to do. It's not easy, and actually sometimes when we get a bit older, it becomes more difficult, but God challenges us sometimes to change for Him. Are we listening? And are we prepared to do that? And lastly, I want you to have a look at some wonky fruit. Got some pictures here. There's some peppers there. Let's go to the next one. We've got a lovely heart potato. I don't know if you've ever grown one of those in your garden. Next, thank you. We've got some nice potato shapes. And this sweet, the one on the right. Oh, they're cute, aren't they? Okay. Next, thank you. And the carrots are brilliant. Next one. Thank you. Yeah, the apple. And lastly, oh look, it's a lovely one with a carrot, isn't it? It's brilliant. What's next? Is that it, Roz? Oh yeah, good, very good. I was picking some of the apples off my Cox's tree in my garden the other day, and I thought of wonky fruit, because most of them are pretty wonky. They're not kind of, they don't look as other apples always look. But they're absolutely delicious. They're lovely apples. It's taken 10 years, but they've finally started to produce some. I won't tell you the cost per apple over the first 10 years of anyway, but they're lovely now. They're delicious, but they don't look perfect. They're not like the perfectly shaped ones that you buy in Sainsbury's or Waitrose. But they're just as nice. Do you know, recently, the shops have started to sell wonky produce, haven't they? Aldi do it, everyone does it now. As I think they finally realised that our fruit doesn't have to look absolutely the same to be, and fruit vegetables, to be nice and to be good for us. And it made me think, of course, that actually we're a bit wonky, aren't we, like those vegetables and fruit. It may come as a shock to you, but no one is perfect, not even my mother. Especially as we get older, we might have wrinkles, we might have a scar from football or rugby. We might have dodgy eyesight. Mine's going, I tell you, oh dear. The list goes on, and we're not perfect on the inside either, are we? We're not always as thoughtful or generous or caring as we should be. We still argue life isn't perfect. We're not always happy 100% of the time. But we don't need to pretend with God, because He knows it all anyway. We don't hopefully need to pretend at church either that everything is fine when it's not. But you know what? I actually quite like walking through. And I reckon God actually does too. You see, He knows that we're all a bit wonky. He knows what we're like on the inside, and yet He loves us anyway. So I want you to remember this morning that you're all a bit wonky this morning. Some more wonky than others, obviously, but that is okay. God loves you. And as we think, and as we thank God this morning for His provision for us, and think how we can care for His creation and those less fortunate than ourselves, let's remember that whoever we are, however we feel, God says to us, as it says on here, that you are beautiful on the inside. Doesn't mean God hasn't got change that He wants to perform in our lives to help us to become more like Him, but He loves us because we are beautiful on the inside. So, 4 things we need to remember. Firstly, at lunch, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to, excellent, we're going to say prayer, we're going to thank God. Brilliant. We're going to think, second one, who we can share with. Should we pray together? Let's pray, shall we? Father God, thank you for your provision for us. Thank you for giving us also the creativity to grow and rear our food and to enjoy your creation. But we also know that we have a responsibility to look after your creation and help us to live up to that challenge, that responsibility that you give us, both as individuals, as organisations, and as nations. And thank you most of all that we are loved by you, however wonky we feel. Thank you that you died for us, and with you we can have life to the full. Amen. And as our last hymn, as a fitting end, we're going to sing, I will offer up my life in spirit and truth, which talks about us offering up ourselves to God because of what He has done for us. And while we are doing that, we actually have some bookmarks that the children can make. It's up the front here, and it has a little picture of that the wonky carrot with the other one hugging it. It's really, really sweet. We've got a Bible verse, I think, that you can write on that bookmark. If while we're singing that song you would like to come up with your parents or carers or on your own and just make a bookmark you can take home for yourself or for anyone else it might be, you can come up to the front while we're singing. So let's stand together and sing our final hymn. I will offer up my life.